Sure.
Okay, calling the meeting to order at 7:38 p.m. We have no guests to welcome. So, Mark had circulated the minutes. Do people have a chance to look? One thing I noticed was not on there was present and absent, so we need to add that. Who was here? Obviously Mark was. You here, Elizabeth?
I was, because wasn't that the one we did on a different day?
Yes, it was an odd, no, you're here because you motioned to accept something.
Yeah.
Maggie,
I'm
Josh
always here in
also.
spirit, so I think I should always.
Jake, you were not here?
That's present.
Okay, everyone else. Okay, thanks. Jake, Aaron, I know. Okay. I'll fill in those names after.
I didn't remember.
Amendments, I get started to put these. Oh, I forgot. You have any amendments, did you see them?
Oh, what were you going to make, 100 copies of something?
That was the long range plan.
Long-range plan. Yes. So that needs to be added in there.
Okay.
There's another XXX somewhere.
Is there?
I think so. Maybe. I could be getting confused with some other documents. Okay, it's probably not there then. Are you making the changes in that?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I didn't know if you had it electronically, so.
Minute printing is one word, but yeah.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm just wondering, I emailed around 4 of the website, right?
Yep.
I must have, okay.
Okay. Somebody want a motion to accept these as amended? So moved. Second?
Second.
Spell it out also.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Pam's report. Anything you want to add?
Thank you.
You want to run through it?
What?
What's your
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
So both of our counts, patron and CERC, were down for February. I think the 4 snowstorms we had probably had something to do with that. I think if you, in the little summary of the electronic materials, I mean, we are almost on a par now with last fiscal year in most of those categories, with still 3 months to go. So, but we've known that that's been trending up for a while.
Did we say that 800 books was the break even for free though? I remember.
Was it 800? It's $1,800. So I would like to pay $1 a song is what I would like.
Okay.
We just voted today at the MVLC membership meeting to renew the Frigo. And because we renewed now, starting now, all of our patrons get 5 downloads a week instead of 3.
Oh, yeah.
So yay.
Because my computer refused to let me install or do whatever it was to set it up. So,
Okay.
forget what it was, but it just wouldn't let me.
Well, actually, and I have it on my iPod, and I think I updated it, and now it won't work. So I'm guessing that like I have an older OS, and I haven't called the help desk to find out what's wrong with that, but my stats counted either anyway.
Yeah, when did we start that? What month?
July?
I just figured it was user error. On mine.
Yeah, we'll have you, definitely. And also the museum passes too are high compared to last year, so that's good. And I think people really know about the museum passes now and really take advantage of them. We field several phone calls a day about them.
Is there anyone that stands out as being popular?
The PEM definitely peaks when the exhibits come and go. Like that one really gets a lot of use. The Museum of Science is probably the next most popular one. And excuse me. I think the Children's Museum and the Wedding Museum are still catching on, but they're also less out of pocket. Like to take a family to the Museum of Science costs $100 easily. Excuse me. So there might just be less incentive for the smaller museums.
The children's museums are pretty pricey too, isn't it like 18 or 19 per person or something like that?
Maybe.
I think that's right.
I think it's maybe like 12 for kids and 18 for adults, something like that. And that one we only have a half pass. We have it for Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. So unfortunately, we tell people no sometimes if they want to go on a day, not those days. And that's a way for us to keep it affordable and still provide access. Yeah.
And the Friends did decide to review the spinners for the year?
Yep.
The spinners, did you say?
Yep.
Both spinners?
Yep. It's not a
It's
museum, obviously.
It's
but-
half off up to 6 tickets.
Really?
Yep. And that one, we're kind of waiting for it to catch on. It has been not as much use as we like, but it's not very expensive either.
And last year was the first year, I think. I mean, we can do a lot more.
Getting the word out.
Yeah, to drum it.
And Jan and I had a couple conversations with people where they were like, I meant to.
I meant to.
I meant to.
Yeah.
I just never got there, so.
That's a birthday party right there.
There you go. Yep.
So unless anybody has any questions on the statistics, I'll just mention the programs. Genealogy Club is going well. I photocopied the flyer for someone yesterday.
Oh, great.
The Andre DeBoost thing was phenomenal. Maggie was here. He was so great.
My mom is like still drooling.
Yeah. Well, send her the URL. She can watch it again. In fact, I was called out of the room. I have to go back and watch the end. And you know, made the friends some money as well. So he's super charismatic. It was really funny. If you want to, you know, go to Raleigh Community Media and check it out. We've got Big Ryan coming during April Vacation Week. Annual book and bake sale coming up. I don't know. Michelle sent out a plea for volunteers today. Did everybody get that? Is everyone on Michelle's?
I'm sorry, when do you need volunteers? What time?
I'm still looking for volunteers for the entire event for them. Saturday between 9 and 12, we're doing the book drop.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm not in trouble, but I don't have as many as we usually have.
I'm getting my hair cut at 9. I can come by when I'm done.
Okay.
For my favorite stylist.
Pam, do we need books? Boxes?
And we always need boxes. If anyone has a box source or wants to stop by the package store on their way.
I'm sure I can rustle up some boxes. It'll be, how big or small or what size do you want? Like a Xerox box kind of size?
Perfect. The covers of those are perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, you want it to be so big that you can't carry it once it's full of books. But if it's too small, then you make more work for yourself.
Right, I was
because you're doing
thinking,
more
you know,
trips.
Phil owns a moving company with a barn full of boxes, but I'm thinking most of them are too big, but I can check.
Some of them can be cut down if they're just too deep. You can cut them in half and get 2 boxes. Not that we've ever done that.
Not that I haven't spent hours.
Yeah, we are here hacking boxes. The, soda case boxes are great for paperbacks, but then the deeper ones are good for hardcovers, so.
And then you do need the big ones too for your art books and the more
Coffee table
oversized
books.
things, yeah. In preparation for the book sale, so anyway, to reiterate, the two sort dates are this Saturday, the 22nd, and Saturday, the April 26th, which is a week before the book and bake sale, which is the weekend of May 2nd through 4th. There's a preview night on Friday for Friends members. Saturday is the sale, and then Sunday is sort of the spillover sale, where we try and
We're still working on raffles. We have Red Sox tickets again this year, and the other item is to be determined. Stay tuned.
So in preparation for that, the past couple of years, the Girl Scout troops that use this meeting room have helped us out by doing a grounds cleanup day. They can't do the week before because they have a sleepaway camp, so the April 19th, which is 2 weeks before, assuming that all the snow is melted. We're getting there. If you're around and have rakes and tools and tarps and want to come and pitch in, that'd be great. And I imagine we'll talk about Rally-Re's somewhere in the agenda.
And we usually do under the 375th.
So the other things we have sort of in the works, Holly Robinson's new book is coming out April 1st. It's called Beach Plum Island. She commissioned a special poem for the book by Carla Pansiera. They're both like Rally people, so they're going to come and talk about that. Mass Walking Tour, if you had a chance to look at the website, it's sort of an environmental thing. It's a Bay State trails that they're associated with, but they go out every summer and hike for like a month or something and they do concerts along the way. So that was actually sponsored by the Raleigh Cultural Council. We didn't write the grant, they wrote the grant, but it was funded. So that's going to be on June 18th.
And that will be here?
Here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's a Wednesday. We don't really have control over how far they can walk in a day, so we have to cancel yoga.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've seen the press lately about the Great Marsh project that Rick Hydrin, the Chamber of Commerce president, has put together, but he got Kickstarter funding to make a movie about the plight of the phragmites in the Great Marsh and the salinity issues. And so he's working with some other organizations, Audubon and maybe the Great Bay again, to sort of promote just awareness of and solutions for that problem. So he's very excited to show his movie and talk about the project here.
And when is that?
We don't know yet.
TBD.
And summer reading, believe it or not, summer reading's getting, we're getting ready. Fizz Boom Read is the theme for children, Spark a Reaction for teens, and Literary Elements for adults, so clearly a science theme. And did everybody see the self-check machine on their way in and give it a try?
Saw it and tried it.
Okay.
And that is the one that we have 9 days?
Yes.
Okay. 9 days started when you hooked it up, or this wasn't here for a while?
It was, I'm assuming the 90 days started yesterday when we put it out for public use.
Sounds good.
And they did a bunch of configuring, things we didn't like. There was, for example, if there's a problem with the item, it just says cannot load item. And we asked, can it say, please ask for assistance? So now it does. A couple other screens we just had customized. And he did a little more work today. There was a problem with the SIM connection, and within 10 minutes he was working on it remotely and it was fixed. So far people like it, although I've had a few people say, who's losing a job? But of course it's just to sort of save the patrons time. And
Well, I think part of our decision was it'll increase the amount of customer service that the staff can give to people because they don't have this huge line. Or if someone
Right.
comes to the counter and says, can I take out a book card, make a book card, the line doesn't stop for 15 minutes. So hopefully it'll
Right.
be good.
right.
And my 7-year-old was able to figure out how to use it all by himself today. So
Good,
it's
and that's kind of what we've been telling the staff as they come in, like, just go try it. We're not training them, we're watching them to see what happens when you walk up to the machine. Do you know what to do? And how do we change the signage or change the verbiage or?
I was here last night and they were talking it up quite a bit with the patrons. They would give them the option when they came to the counter, would you like to try the self-check, and would go over and walk them through it. So
We kind of talked about having an extra person dedicated to do that. only so I wouldn't get stuck doing it, like if there were lines at the desk. But judging from last night and tonight, it's not really necessary. The regular staff can. But I also called Burlington Library. They've been using their Basecamp checkout for several months now. They're very happy with it. And she told me you might want extra staff on the first couple of weeks. So
Really?
they're much bigger than we are too.
That's true.
And the furniture, is the furniture beautiful or what?
Furniture is taller than I expected.
And unfortunately with the thing where you have to touch the screen to get started and not just scan your items, anyone smaller than Dougie really can't do it. I'm glad that he can, but yeah.
Amy had asked us about that. I didn't see him touch to start. He could easily do the print receipt and then done, but when he touched to start and the keypad came up in case you want to enter your thing, I'm not sure he would have been able to reach that.
Yeah.
But since he had his card, he
Right.
had a problem. Can you lower the screen on the neck of it?
No,
'Cause it's a long neck.
no.
Is
It's
it that
solid.
small?
I was gonna say,
That
could be
that's-
dangerous.
Yeah. I'm just thinking it's not really handicap accessible.
That's what I thought when
Well,
I saw the
it can, no, it is.
Yeah.
We were definitely within ADA. We looked at that.
Really?
Yeah, we looked at the range of height your table can be. It definitely is.
Wow, that's really tall for ADA, but,
Yeah.
okay. I'm inordinately short, so.
And I kind of thought that it was going to be the same height as a circulation desk, but it tucks in perfectly under the windowsill.
Does
So
it?
that must have
Yeah.
been, yeah,
That was the criteria.
that must have been what we went with.
But it does match wonderfully. Everything else, and the face there looks nice.
Yeah, I like the shelves next to it, too. They look good.
All right, are there any questions or follow-up on Pam's report? Motion to accept her report?
So moved.
Second. Barbara.
You guys can do that up. All those in favor?
Aye.
Stay there. Budget? Anything on the budget that we should be aware of?
Knock on wood, we haven't really had any problems as far as repairs and maintenance with the HVAC or anything like that. So I don't foresee any problems anywhere, really. We have paid another light bill since this was sent, but it was under $900, so that's always good.
Does anybody have any questions on the budget? Did everybody see Pam's budget that she submitted? The cover letter?
Yeah, so I also sent you guys what the selectmen and the finance committee saw.
Is that the budget request?
Yes,
Narrative?
Did you send the actual budget?
yes. It's called,
There's no budget. There's no documents for today.
yes.
But you requested it for your 15 narrative.
Yeah, library form, fiscal 15.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. The selectmen have already approved it. They approved it March 3rd
Really? So that was time to go?
without us having to go.
Wow. I kept waiting for that.
And I was on vacation for a week, and I was gonna let Debbie know that I was gone for a week, but she called me up, she said, "How's your vacation? Your budget's approved."
Sweet.
Nice.
The finance committee has not yet approved it. They had some questions. They were going to meet tonight, but they canceled it. I've spoken with our liaison to the finance committee and answered all of the questions. Actually, because one of the increases was the service contract for the self-check machine. So we have the 90-day trial, then we have a 1-year warranty. So if all goes according to plan, our first payment for thereafter the annual maintenance fee would fall in June of next year.
So it falls in
Which,
this
it's
budget.
weird that you're paying this fiscal year for the year ahead, but that's just how it's gonna play out. So what, Janet Bridges is our liaison to the finance committee, and she said, we didn't have a problem with your budget, we just had questions. Okay. And so, you know, since I've spoken to her, I'm sure she'll take my answers. I don't think we'll be expected to go to a finance committee meeting.
Did anybody have any questions on the FY15 budget or the form that the cover sheet that Pam submitted?
This Form 3, this is the budget. This is what you asked? Is that what I'm seeing here, Pam?
Form 3, yep.
So we have 13, 14, and an increase, and then 14 requests, is that?
Yes, yep. Reading the columns across.
Yeah.
Fiscal 13 actual, fiscal 14
This
appropriated.
is the 15 request?
It's not 15.
Okay.
Oh, I
Is that
see,
legal,
yep.
right?
15, that should say fiscal 15, thank you for catching that typo.
Make sure it's
Yep,
reading this right.
sorry, that should be fiscal 15. So with the 2.6% increase in expenses and then the unavoidable do I have the wrong? We're missing a page, we're missing Form 1, at least in my, sorry. And then 2.47 was the total wages increase, so the total increase is 2.54%. Sorry about that in the paper copies, I left out Form 1.
So this is just waiting finance approval? Is that what
Yes.
this is? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if nobody has any questions on either of those budgets, take a motion.
So
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, moving along. I saw that Rally Reads was meeting before we came in, so I'm guessing there's a report there of some sort.
Wow, okay, yes. So we have the Seaport stand in there. We've ordered a banner for the front of the building. We're going to have bookmarks made,
Like this?
like this.
Okay. Nice.
And we've given ourselves until Monday to finalize absolutely 100% the schedule. We still have a couple things sort of pending, some people that we're trying to get hold of. Incidentally, does anybody know Donna, who owns Mill River Winery? No?
I know, well, I don't know her, but I mean,
But know her well enough to call her at home, or maybe,
Yeah, I
or
don't
no?
know.
Okay.
what do you need from her?
Well, we'd like to have an event there, and we're just having a hard time getting in touch with her.
Well, I can approach her. I mean,
Just
Well-
I go there once in a while and I talk with her.
We have a plan, you know, it has to happen this weekend, because we need to get the schedule printed,
Yeah.
so. I just thought if anyone knew her, socially.
I think we're right down the
Yeah.
street. Subscribe to their Facebook page. I'm glad to stop by as well,
Yeah.
but I don't have any particular relationship with her, so.
I've talked her ear off a few times.
All right, so we're all set.
Seaport is the graphics company, so it's just a Seaport stand, it's like the brand name.
Worst nightmare, send me that. Nail the whole thing.
Let me go back.
I want to contest Sarah Shop or shit.
So the programs that we have planned, Holly Robinson is doing 3 book discussions, 2 here in the library, 1 at the Council on Aging. Jenny Bovio, a local who runs a daycare, is doing 4 story times. 2 will be for preschool and toddlers, 2 will be for elementary age. And then so So she'll do a program on apples for the 2 age groups one day and a story time on tractors and farms on the second day. Bob Mary has agreed to give a lecture. We haven't pinned down a date yet because we were kind of thinking that would be fun to do at Mill River as the kickoff event since it was Dodge Cider Mill, and that's kind of what Bob's going to be talking about.
Who's going to do the lecture?
Bob Mary.
Oh, okay.
We have a memoir writing class scheduled. That's going to be on 3 Saturdays. Unfortunately, it's going to be like 3 to 5 is the only time. The person we hired is just, that's the best compromise. I think it'll be okay. I don't mind opening the building. We're going to go on a tour of Russell Orchards in Ipswich, like in the like hay baskets, right, or whatever. We have the Lazinski family coming in to do 2 sessions on beekeeping, 1 for kids, 1 for adults. We are going to have a chef do a cooking demonstration at the Grange in their commercial kitchen. They will give a demonstration. People will be able to sample 2 recipes, 1 sweet and 1 savory, and then they will also get printouts of the recipes to take home. And we're going to show 3 movies, maybe 4, that take place during the Depression.
Possibly a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Set in the Depression.
And then we're going to have a jazz brunch as the closing event. And that'll be on a Sunday afternoon,
May 18th.
May 18th
11.
at 11. And we're still sort of working out what the brunch will entail. So if anybody has any brunch-like recipes that they are dying to show off, let us know.
Or scones.
I was gonna say, why are you looking at me?
So that's 20, at least 20 events.
But we were very ambitious in planning this month-long series of events. But should be fun. So once we pin down the Bob Mary and the Mill River Winery thing, everything else is confirmed. Now we need to get a schedule of events and do a townwide mailing and all of that. So the publicity will be rolling out very, very soon.
Good job.
Is there anything else on 275th in our regular meetings or anything that we need to know about?
Oh, well, for the townwide 375th, yeah. They had planned on sending a letter to all the businesses in town soliciting donations and sponsorships. But then Joe Perry called the Ethics Commission just to make sure that he could do that, and he cannot because the rules for solicitation say that you cannot ask anyone who is not in a position to say no. Meaning, for example, the Institution for Savings they're doing construction. So they have business before the zoning board, they have business before, Conservation Commission. Now, they've approached the committee and are sponsoring the parade, but we did not approach them for a solicitation. And we kind of realized in a small town, it's everyone. Everyone.
Right.
Everyone has a health inspection, everyone has a fire inspection. So they're looking at alternate ways to get the word out that we do need sponsorships and, seed money for things. So they'll probably run the letter as a letter to the editor. They're talking about taking out ads. But that was kind of a glitch, in
Chamber of Commerce, if we couldn't do that, or Rotary Club, or...
That was one thing that was discussed is could another 501c3 that's already established in town sort of take over? But there's, yeah.
Pam, is there a Facebook page?
Yep. There's a Facebook page, there's Twitter, there's a website, all done by Matt Rogers, who also did our Library3 site. So they're meeting again tomorrow. They didn't really resolve that dilemma and may end, because that was kind of a long conversation, they didn't get to the rest of their agenda last week, hence the meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
But there will be a parade. There will be a road race. The police, what is the police union called? It's like the benevolent something or other. Basically, there's a police union is a charitable organization. And they are putting on a road race on Thursday, September 4th in the evening. And that'll have all the fun runs and kids stuff and everything involved too. Friday, I think there's just like church bell ringing and proclamations. And then Saturday is a parade, food on the common, and the panoramic photograph like they've done a few times now.
And when is that?
September 7th, whatever's the following weekend after Labor Day.
Friday's the 5th, Saturday's the 6th, and Sunday's the 7th.
And Sunday's the Labor Day.
No, Labor Day's the 1st.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
week after.
And Sunday, they talked about, well, Sunday will be church services, because of course the founding of the town is really the founding of the church. And then after that, they're going to do like kind of a family picnic, bring your own sort of thing, community on the common. But, you know, again, they want to sell T-shirts and that, you know, all these things, like I said, you need seed money, you need sponsorships. And there are going to be concerts on the common all summer, like every week. There'll be a concert for 4 weeks or something like that. And I think, in addition to the rally reads, I think we definitely want to do something in the summer.
Yeah,
So-
we kicked, the outreach committee kicked around some ideas, but I think, you know, rally wreath was placed before them, and where the town's general 375th is happening later in the summer, that gives us the time to finish rally wreaths.
Right, but we're going to run into the same problem as the Rally Reads Committee did, which is that the schedule needs to be printed. This, you know, the schedule of events, that needs to go out well ahead, so.
Do we know, can we get that date from them?
When their deadline is, I'm not
Okay.
sure. I don't know if I do.
Then maybe in the next, I'm trying to think if rally reads is all the same people as outreach. Maybe we can just add it on to the end of the next rally reads meeting or something.
I mean, unless anybody wants to contribute a fun idea.
We talked about like the photography contest.
Photography contest would be really fun for kids, yeah. Okay.
Excellent, thank you. On the agenda, we just have 3 items of old business, website updates, anything new? I know you sent a picture of it.
They're waiting to hear from us. This is the latest one, which makes the changes that we asked for. Again, this top will be a slideshow, so don't be alarmed by the scary looking one there.
Back on the rally reads, do you still have the cider press thing? or-
Yes,
From the historic
Is
society.
it, well, Mark, you had another connection, right?
Yeah, so I located an old one. It's an old, it's pretty old.
How big is it?
About like that tall, I mean, big handle on the side.
It's a big. And do you,
Fairly big,
and
still,
whoever owns it has agreed to loan it?
yes.
And do we have a plan for transportation?
Yeah, I get it here.
You can.
The question would be, where would you want it, how long would you want to display it for, and where do you want to display it?
Well, we were thinking maybe just in the lobby in that corner, and with a corner, we can, you know, rope it off so nobody messes with
Yeah, I
it.
don't think you want people messing with it.
Right.
Because it could definitely hurt fingers and things like
Yeah.
that. I think it would be a nice display. It's an old one, it's still used, it's totally functional.
Yeah, that would be great.
It still is used every year, yeah, my brother-in-law uses it.
That would be awesome.
He makes cider with it.
So things are starting to happen the week of April 14th, and they'll be done by May 18th.
Okay.
Do we want it here for the book sale though?
So do you,
Something
would
to
you,
think
look-
about.
how does the board feel about this? Would you like to see a picture of it first? And, you know, just bring the thing up or what?
It's probably safe just to bring it.
Yeah.
It's in keeping, so.
I mean, if it's
But
functional.
we do use every
Oh, yeah.
square inch of this place on the book
I mean, if
sale.
it's too big or doesn't suit your purpose.
What's, I'm sorry, I know, I should know this, what's the date on the book sale?
May
5 to 2, 3.
2 is the Friday. So May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
So we would
Is
just.
it heavy, is it too heavy to move temporarily?
Oh, the other
Move
way.
back?
I don't think so, yeah, I think you could probably move it around, I don't know. You know, it's been a while since I've seen it.
Well, we can talk about
Yeah, it's not something you want to move around a lot, that's what it
that. Yeah.
It's gonna need a very sturdy table to be on, or a sturdy structure to be on. I don't know, what were you thinking of putting it on?
Put it
Just
on a pallet.
What's that?
We could put it on a pallet.
You could put it on a pallet.
We could do a pallet and put some sort of material over
Mhm,
it.
mhm. Do you think Charlie can get one?
We have them.
Okay.
We're good with that.
I could probably bring some.
Or even a, you know, a couple if you wanted some height, stack up a couple.
Yeah. Would that be sturdy then?
If you have good pallets that aren't too messed up,
Yeah.
so they sit, you know,
Solidly.
on top of each other.
I mean, I guess the only concern would be we would have to,
Move it.
practically would have to move it for the book sale. Because that's a lot of real estate.
So we can handle that. But I'll get to move it around. I wouldn't let that.
He says
And it's not fragile, like you can just sort of throw it on a dolly or a hand
It's
truck.
not
and-
fragile. No,
Okay.
it's definitely not fragile.
I wouldn't see any harm in taking, if you have your phone or whatever, just can you send out pictures of it to us? I mean, just so we can get an understanding of what we're doing, because I don't have any idea.
So why don't I take a look
That
at
picture is
it?
big
Let me take a
there.
look at it and get some dimensions and, you know, I remember it being fairly massive, but my memory's not all that great, you know, I know it's a big thing. Let me just look at it and provide some description as to what
You
How big it is?
Is you talking 500 pounds big?
is probably, yeah, I don't think it's 500 pounds, it's probably, well, it might be 300. It's got some very big, heavy, old gears on it, so, as I recall, and there's these big like rollers in it. It's definitely over 200, 300, probably 300, maybe even 400.
Pallets probably will not hold that.
I wonder, what about the reference desk? What about that area instead? That
Put
would
it
affect.
in there, that's not a bad idea.
Well, like, we could even move the reference desk and cordon off four sides of it. I don't know where we put the reference desk, but, or how we move it. But that would negate having to move the press
For
twice.
the books then, yeah. And it would be in a position where we could keep an eye on its usage throughout the program.
Mhm.
Do you know what the footprint is offhand at all?
Probably about 4 by 4.
I wouldn't say on the reference desk.
If, you know, probably maximum, maybe 3 by 3, somewhere in that range, 3 by 3, 4 by 4.
It might.
It sounds
Mine-
like, it sounds like the one that, they have up at the Broad Street Farm, which.
And we might want to compare which one's going to be easier to move.
Your brother-in-law's to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Well, like, the one in the Broad Street Farm might be, like, you might need to move other stuff to get that out. But the Historical Society at the farm has several other small items, different paraphernalia that they used to use that we may want to get to put into the case, because I know the case is done, we can put some stuff on the shelves too, so.
Yeah, I hope everybody noticed the fabulous display that the staff put together. Unfortunately, it has to come out because April is Grange month, but then it's going back in for May.
All right.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
So that's it.
So again, they made the changes we wanted to see. We've got the hours and the logo and the address in a smaller area up here. We've got less boxiness in columns, and yet 6 sort of highlighted items. I mean, I'm thinking this is our homepage, and we're ready to move on to secondary pages. Is everybody?
The only thing I had was, didn't we want to have a link to your account right on the face page and the catalog, which I don't see?
Yes.
So we put it at the top above the picture.
I mean, it could be one of these
Like
things.
home, about
That's
that.
maybe what we decided. We can make these links whatever we want them to be.
Yeah.
That might have been what we decided. We just want to be sure that one of them is directed to your account and one is to the,
And Jay wasn't sure about the My Account, but we can pull code from other libraries' websites. I know it exists.
Yeah. talked about it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think we just said we'd replace some of those links with
Mhm.
that content.
You type with a search box.
And then we want a search box.
Search the catalog,
Yes.
or a regular
Search
search.
everything.
Search everything?
Yeah.
Well, if we have a link to the catalog, then
Right.
we don't necessarily.
A
search
link
for it.
or a search box.
Yep. But I think Josh is talking about search the site.
Right, the, like
Not the
one,
catalog, but-
the new report.
Where do I find Freebill once it's off of here, or something like that? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, well, I think like it was all incorporated, it was all same, like, look at Newburyport Library. I think theirs was all, it did both.
You know, it could also, for example, we have Facebook and Pinterest, and I guess we have a newsletter too, but we don't really have a blog anymore, so it might, go there too.
New reports is search the catalog, not search the site.
Or can you sample a little? I'll switch to catalog again. Okay, yeah.
So I think as long as we have that,
Yep.
we'll probably be okay. Okay.
We need to vote.
I don't think so. All right. I think printing the strategic plan is fairly well answered right here.
So we have 100 of these?
Yes. And I haven't even considered, we're gonna mail one to every person who served on the planning committee, but we're not doing anything other than rally reads around here. Books are not getting cataloged, we're focused. They will go out before fiscal 15 starts, for sure.
Do you have the addresses?
No. If anyone wants to take that over and create a mailing list, that would rock.
Do I still have the spreadsheet of
It's in here.
I have 3
The list of the participants.
But we must have had addresses because they were sent written
I think they were
invitations.
emails.
Oh, were the emails?
I don't remember what we did this time.
Well, most of these we can probably get. I know several of them off the top of my head.
A few were just hand delivered, so
I can do that if you want.
that would be great, Janet. And then if you give me some mailing labels, it's just a matter of finding out the correct postage and getting them out. And obviously, we can hand deliver copies to the selectmen. Should we also include the finance committee, personnel board, who else? I'll ask Debbie again that.
And is it possible to get this in a PDF?
Yep.
Is it on the library site?
It is not currently, but it could be.
It will be eventually.
It will be, yeah.
Do we have Eve's new address?
If I can get it, I have her email.
We can handle a lot of this, one hand deliver those with common law can bring it to us.
Okay.
School.
Yeah, do you remember who everybody is, Janet? That
I don't, but I can ask the ones I don't know and figure out the ones I do know.
That's awesome, thank you. Obviously, the staff members we can hand deliver. I don't think Susan Babb and Mary Burley need copies, our facilitators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, May 2014 elections. Maggie and I both turned in our papers. Michael is not running, so we're short one trustee. Michelle has somebody who's interested. If anyone else knows of somebody who's interested, let us know. Invite them to the April meeting, whatever you think is good.
Friday is the last day to take out papers, so if someone's interested, they can still be elected with a write-in campaign. If they wanted to organize one.
that we tabled last month?
Amy had this report rerun to get a little bit more data fields into it, so we could play around with it a little more. I run some quick totals on it, just so we can get at how much are we talking about, how many people, so that before we make decisions on trying to recover some of this. There's 507 books, or 507 items, I should say. I eliminated magazines because they get rotated anyway, so we wouldn't necessarily replace one. So there's 507 items besides that. The total amount that is owed is $6,546, so it's a considerable amount of money as well. There are 332 people involved, so if we were to approach people, whether it be phone calls or mailing, it would either be a lot of labor or a lot of postage. There are some items, Pam, I don't know if this is something wrong with the data, some of which were less than $1 was the cost of them. Some were even pennies.
If someone didn't put in a price, then there's no, actually, what Evergreen does is it charges $10 if the price field is blank.
Okay, so.
But I don't know if that's the case with older data.
Okay.
Like if the bill was generated back then, maybe that bill is just what it is.
Okay. So one decision we might make is a book.
Oh,
There are some things that
It
literally.
could be
have a-
fines. People could get fines at other libraries, like 10 cents a day or whatever.
Everything on this list was owned though by.
It was an
staff.
item, okay.
Yeah, it was one of our items. So, we may decide that we're not gonna bother someone for a 10-cent item. There's I separated it by people, and then I looked and I said, okay, are there people with the same last name at the same address? And I called them a family. There are 3 families who owe more than $200. 6 families owe between $100 and $200. And there's 23 families that owe between $50 and $100. And the reason I looked at this was because when Pam and Rob and I talked about this once before, we tried to get at like what's the likelihood of recovering funds, and if we're more likely to collect from the family that we sent a bill for $23 than the one that we sent for $218. So it's mostly, well, not mostly, but the 3 largest groups are adult nonfiction. DVDs make up almost 14% of the total cost, and young adult teen fiction. And those 3 groups are almost 40% of the total amount, whereas most of the other categories are 5% or something. So what we need to decide is if we want to take steps to try to recover this, and if so, how we go about it in the least costly fashion.
And Amy, as part of her research, polled other library cert departments to find out what they did. Let me pull her responses and see if there's any insights there.
And do we have any sense of what recourse is?
Well, if you owe over $10.
You can't renew your dog license or something.
Well, the system is set up so that if you owe more, when you owe $10, you aren't supposed to be allowed to take out any additional books. When we looked at this once before, we found that, you can override that in the system, and we found that may have happened so that people accumulated more and more cost. I have.
Or they just borrow someone else's and the families
Use somebody else's
Card.
card.
Right, well, yeah.
They borrow your card.
In some cases, we saw several people in the same household that had a lot. Of the 322 I'm sorry, of the 332 people, 200 of them are less than $15. So, I mean, that might be just a reminder, you know, please look to see if you have this item. If you don't have that item, you know, please, please remit payment. What did the other?
4 libraries only send the system notices. So I'll just reiterate, the system notices are a 14-day overdue. Well, for email, a reminder goes out 3 days before it's overdue. If you have email, you get an email at 14 days. If you don't, you get a paper copy at 14 days. A bill, there's a paper bill always at 49 days overdue, and then there's a billing notice at 91 days. So those are the system-generated notices. 4 libraries make calls along with the 91-day notice. 2 libraries send a special follow-up letter in addition to the system-generated notices. 1 library sends a special letter with the 91-day notice and then forwards the delinquent accounts to a collection agency. 4 of the above libraries who do more than the system-generated letters have fine thresholds of $50 before taking further action, and 1 library has a threshold of $100.
We should keep in mind that some of these books have been overdue for years.
And we might want to consider a cutoff of, a time cutoff.
Right.
You know, if it's been 5 years, what are the odds? But
We have a half price day or something, or.
Amnesty.
No, amnesty doesn't help us, you know.
Well, there's-
7
there's-
years,
see,
7 years is amnesty.
there's, I mean, the amnesty is bring the item back or replace it.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah,
not
most
like
likely
there
they're
are
lost, or they're
fines.
destroyed, or they're,
Mhm.
but, you know, if we send a bill and then, you know, we could have a 50% forgiveness day or something, I don't know, if we don't think we'll ever, you know, I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm just,
I think we might want to take kind of a lighthearted approach to it as best we can, like you said, like a 50, an amnesty day, maybe.
Or get 50% off if you make a donation to the food pantry with a non-perishable item. A lot of libraries do food for fines in December.
we could try and appeal to, you know, the library's resources are for everybody, you know, a little picture of somebody, and then we get it.
Waiting for that book.
Yeah, we, that book, yeah.
They
I
threw
don't know,
away.
something to appeal to.
But yeah, but I mean, I would put some of those stats in a Facebook post, just say, get people thinking, is my account in good standing?
These are true.
Well, really, you'd like to think that when people come in to take out books, they're told, no, sorry, you have something overdue. But are these still, some of these were, once they go to billing, they come off the account, don't they?
Do we know that these people are still residents
So I was
of
just gonna
Raleigh?
ask, are they still card holders? Do we know that?
We haven't done that far into this data yet. We did do that previously, tried to see, compared it against address lists, and I thought, you know, I think we identified a couple families that may have moved or
Mhm.
that had
Yeah,
several
I
card
think-
holders.
I think it would be a good idea to, I mean, this is assuming we have the manpower or the volunteers to maybe check the street list and see if they're even still local. And then, I mean, maybe, would you be able to do like a mail merge with what you have? So that we could send a cute little letter like, check your closets for this item?
I could do that. Addresses, that was some of the data that Amy had rerun, so we have
Mhm.
address in it.
And the specific item needs to be, if we're gonna tell them to go look for this item, we need to tell them what it is.
Title. The title, the call number, the barcode.
Mhm.
So we could do that. We had started to plan, tried to do a mock-up of that previously. Part of the challenge was leaving space for one book or trying to get, because one person had 8 books, trying to get them all into one letter book, and we can play around with that.
And I think the whole family thing, because of the privacy, that they have to go to individuals, it can't just be like to a household.
Okay. So do we want to try to draft a letter to send out that we can maybe review at the next meeting, or do you need us to review it, or do you want to just, you and Amy draft a letter? How do you feel?
I mean, ultimately, Pam, you're going to be dealing with these people.
Or not.
You're used to-
Yeah.
Or not.
Um,
I defer to your discretion.
I mean, I don't know what would be more effective, a phone call or a letter. Like you
wanna
said, a
make
letter
this
is
phone
so
call?
easy to throw away. I mean, if we suppose we set a goal of like 10 calls a day, or 10 calls per shift.
And whoever's on the
Per
desk.
person. Yeah.
Do we pay people after that?
So, sorry, you said there were 507 items outstanding. How many?
507 items.
Individuals.
There's 332 individuals.
And do we have a sense of what the oldest item?
I could do that. That's in the data.
Yeah, like if we had a list of phone calls to make, you could go down the list and you could say, well, this is only $10, I'm not gonna bother. Well, this is 5 years old, I'm not gonna bother. That's what we're looking for, is the benchmarks, or the
Or
thresholds.
do we not bother calling on?
Right.
I think, myself, I think it would make more sense to start with the more recent items. They're probably the ones we're most likely to recover. I would say, I don't know what to say on the dollar amount. I would say $10 is worth a phone call. Because if there's a bunch of those, then it's gonna add up. If we get them back, then
There's 92 people who owe between 1 and 5. So if we
So we can take them out of the 332.
well, if we say that's
Is it just a question of time before their 5 becomes 10?
what's that?
no, because it's the value of the item.
Value
It's not a
of-
fine.
Okay.
So how much was that? If you said 3?
It'd be like $275. If we say $3, average of $3 times 92 people, it's $276.
What?
And I think people are more likely to say, oh, she's sorry, next time I'm in, I'll give you $5, than,
Depending on if we even have time to figure out how many of those people are still active users of the library. And we would kind of deal with this at work too. Do you chastise everybody for the few people that are offending? Could we put a notice up saying, hey, do you have a missing item? Just a general reminder, no names on the CERT desk, or is that not for those 97 people or whatever? Are they apt to?
Well, again, one would assume if they're active users, they have this conversation at the desk.
Okay, but we still let them take out a book.
I don't know, the threshold is $10, the system blocks them at $10. If someone says to me, yes, I know, I'm handling that, like you say, it's not our item, it's another library's item,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, I've talked to them, we're working it out, da-da-da, I'll say, okay, I can let you have this today,
But we can see in the system if it's ours, right?
right.
So, I don't know, do we want to shut people up, or do we not want to do that? Because we still have the discretion, right? The staff has the discretion to let that book circulate from here.
There's definitely patrons I wonder, like, how were they able to check out more stuff when they have
Okay.
all of this outstanding? I don't know. I mean, I'm not here watching the desk all the time. I don't know.
and I didn't get a chance to dig that in and say, okay, someone who owed, I know that there are people that owe, there's 2 people that owe over $200. I didn't look at the dates, the due dates of the items that they owe to see if they're all the same due date, if they're far enough apart that clearly some of these should have hit their bill previous to them taking new stuff out.
And
I
I
haven't dug
wonder,
into that.
I wonder and if there's only a few, we can look at them individually and make a judgment call. But I wonder if after a certain threshold, say after $100, is that worth a certified letter?
Yeah.
I would think so.
I'd say over $100 is worth a certified letter.
The certified one is, $5 on top of,
Yeah.
which would probably not,
Yeah, but how do you get someone to take it seriously?
What I want to make sure is, like, you hear these horror stories in the news that, towns that send the police to people's houses to collect overdue library books and stuff. And I want to make sure, however, we're doing this, like Maggie said, take a lighthearted approach. I don't want anyone to react and be like, what, they just sent me a bill for $200? When we first did this, it was like in October or November, and we said, we're not doing it. we're not sending people bills for $200 in December, right before the holidays, or in the middle of the holidays. So I kind of think about that, like how are they going to react when they receive this? And I don't want anyone to have a, knee-jerk negative reaction like, oh, this crazy library just sent me a bill for $200. So I want to make sure that we phrase it so like, please bring back the books. You probably are unaware that you still have these books. Please bring them back. And if you can't find them, maybe we say if you can't find them, please give us a call so that we can
Work
discuss
out a
a
payment
plan or something.
yeah.
Right, and maybe
Yeah.
there's no dollar amount in it. And I'm just throwing that out. I don't know. Maybe we want to just send them a bill, or there's some library that sends them to collection.
And there's an argument to be made that maybe you get those users back. Maybe they've been avoiding the library. Maybe you get them back by purging the fines and publicizing that.
Mm-hmm.
Clean slate, come back.
It's not a fine, though, we have to remember that, it's a value of.
Right,
whatever
it's
they have
an
in their
item
hands.
that belongs to the
Right.
town that they
So
stole.
it's a forgiveness, it's not a
Yeah.
fine. I don't know, I mean, my approach might be, do a Facebook post or, something in the newsletter that just has some statistics about this, like, hey, is your account in good standing? We could have Newburyport News or whatever newspaper's most local, do an article saying, the trustees have asked the library staff to start pursuing library fines and just like let that get out so it's not just this random thing if somebody's getting a letter showing up.
And how much what do we have a total outstanding for?
$6,546.
Yeah.
That's a
Publicize
significant
that,
amount.
right?
Yeah. The number of books, figure out what is the item that is the most overdue.
Please return your book.
Yeah, I mean, you always hear about these books that are coming back from to the library like 25 years later.
Well, that's the thing, we're not calling, it's not a fine, it's the value of the thing, so that's.
The value of the
Just-
thing.
Yeah, so we gotta be specific when we tell them, because that's why I think, you see something like, oh no, I took this out in '97? I can never go back there.
Oh, I see.
I should drive around the block, I owe that much money, but we just let them know, we just want the replacement value of the items,
Well, yeah.
and not that it's, adding up, it's not
Yeah.
compound interest.
And the 6,000, that is the replacement value, right?
Yes.
So if we did benchmarks like, owing underneath a certain amount and having been taken out within a certain range, figure out whatever is reasonable, I wonder how much of that 6,000 would be within that kind of, reasonable, parameters.
I can do that once I can run that for any parameters we decide.
How about we do like a reverse donation thing? Like, this is how much we owe, like when you do fundraising, instead of the thermometer going up, this is how much we recovered, and have it go down,
That would be good. That'd be
Recovery.
fun.
recovery effort, I mean, like,
How about a letter you tie it to the celebration, you say, we're just, the library's just, we've got a backlog of these things, we kindly ask, everybody to return them, and, and, I don't know.
Well, we throw them in the stockades.
Sounds like we want to do ask kindly to try to get these things back, and this is going to be.
What if we offer some sort of incentive, like if we can meet this recovery effort, is there something that we can do as a library or as
Yeah, but
maybe a
trustees?
bookmark.
Oh, fancy.
If we can get the money back, we'll replace those books and someone else will take them out.
Well, I think we got
Or
a
if we
good,
get the
I like
books
the
back.
stock,
Again, not
but we
necessarily
let
talking
people
about
know.
money.
Yeah,
We're
how about
talking
the
about one or the
mannequins?
other.
We let people know that it's
Some
not that
different
bad. You know what I mean?
And
It's
we're
not, times have changed. The first person took out the book and they brought it back. We didn't put them in the stockade, or and let them know, because I think people get nervous and worried.
I think it's just negligence. I don't think it's, they don't plan on keeping it. They just had it, they brought it over to a friend's house, they left it there, then everyone picked it up. It's in the back of their
Or
car,
it's on the bookshelf.
down in the basement, after it got shifted around after they moved.
Their kids hide it somewhere.
Yeah, the
But
kids
if
were
you
shipping
put
at
out notice to everybody, telling them the situation, I think that the mother who sees the notice saying, wait a minute, my son has some books, I think. You know, they could, oh, I know where they are, I'll return those for you.
Right, and I've certainly had to replace destroyed books, and it's like you can pay the replacement value, or you can find it used in good condition and replace it for less than the library cost of replacement.
Do we accept that? The policy says new replacements only.
And if we look at the categories,
Which
it's,
still might be a little bit cheaper if you
But
get it, 30%
yeah,
off.
30% on Amazon
Yeah.
is cheaper than list price, for sure.
if you look at the categories, the big ones are, what, young adults and DVDs.
DVDs.
You know, and you know that just irresponsible
Michelle, did you
kids. You know
Did
what I
you
mean?
think
For the most
to,
part.
Bowlery Lane, did we talk about this? Bowler, the Solstice kids used to be able to get individual library cards, so there was a lot of outstanding items on Bowlery Lane.
Oh, okay.
But I think we resolved all those, I think the school paid for them, but that would be another one you could, you know, delete, because those kids are so transient.
Yeah, I mean, a DVD, think about how many times you borrow a DVD from a friend or something, you just put it in the stack, and you don't know which ones are yours, and which ones are Joe's, and which ones in
Yeah.
the library. So in that case, a letter saying, hey, that, Madagascar that you have belongs to us, someone might go pull it off the shelf and bring it back.
I think it would be fine to send, I think it'd be great to put something in the paper or something, saying that
Yeah,
we're
I
making
think-
this effort. But I think a letter, again, not a bill, but a letter saying, you have these items,
Yeah.
we'd like them back.
Please look for them.
Yeah.
And bring them back, and if you can't find them, please call us.
Call us or
to
something.
work out.
I still like the idea of us making calls, because then you have a conversation. You know you're not just tossed in the trash can. You know you've like connected with that person. Like, are you going to look for them, or are you not going to look for them?
You can also sort of gauge if someone is outraged, that you
Mhm.
have the nerve to call and ask for an overdue book, that we
Call
can,
you.
that, you can try to de-escalate.
I think collection regulations too, on things like calling people at home, like you can only talk to the individual, you can't even tell why you're calling.
Well,
they
we
could
would,
consider it harassment.
I don't know.
But we have to talk to the individual anyway, because we can't even talk to a parent about a child's
Right.
overdue book.
Right.
yes,
So-
we would be limited by privacy laws, but I mean, I don't know that
At
we're,
that
it's not
point-
really a collection call, we're not calling saying, hey, give us the money, we're calling saying, hey,
You
we
have
forgot
this book, it's a
to
return
return that
Yeah, we're
book.
saying, do you think you could look around your home or your office or whatever and maybe locate this material that's been outstanding for a year and
And we have new hours.
I think I'm trying our self-checkout machine.
What,
Yeah.
what
which
if
you
we?
won't be able to until you clean up your car.
That's right.
There's an
Good.
outside
Checkout
thing, no one has to
machine.
even see you can return it, so.
I wonder, I mean, we kind of joked about the reverse thermometer, but what if we did something like that? We could put a sign that said, check at the circ desk to see if you have an overdue book.
Or like how,
Or how to
like
do it
how
on your
many,
account.
how many, I don't know how we would do this, but like
Yeah,
how many
that's true.
books, like track how many books were recovered and like,
Yeah, I think that would be kind of fun, actually, to do that,
Mhm.
if we see some success at first, at least.
Mhm.
But that's a good point, too, is how to look it up. Maggie said how to tell people also how to look it up, to see that they have an overdue book. And if we do an article in the paper saying that we're making this recovery effort, because some people don't know how, probably, right? So,
Didn't I return that?
sounds like I do.
And then there's another question, do you feel like we should check our stacks before we start sending these letters out?
We did last time,
Yeah.
but I don't remember how many we were able to find.
Okay, so,
So we can do all this, we can do this research and then come back next meeting and have some ideas and to have some numbers around these ideas.
But I wouldn't slow down from creating some small buzz about it.
I like the idea of putting something on the circulation desk or putting a sign up to just to, because even the people that don't necessarily have a book outstanding, they may know someone in their family who does, and they can return it for them.
So what are you suggesting again?
Just making it known that we're looking to everybody, not just the people who actually
like
want it.
150
And I think
likes.
people would be interested, because really, I mean, this $6,500 is taxpayer money that, now, I mean, if someone wrote us a donation check for that.
No, there's no Rally, there's a Rally 375.
So if, I think if people found that there's this much tax money that people are just lining up in the closet.
People use the, library, for that.
And it must have been publicized
They
recently,
like
so
that
we're not 87
service,
likes.
so
Right.
I don't think they want to take from it. I think they just, it's just negligence, they just haven't.
Right.
And it's getting to be spring, people are starting to think about spring cleaning, like, hey, as you're doing your spring cleaning, and there's just things showing up.
But you have to also worry about that, because you're, just wrapping back. Or this is gonna cost me more, I'm just gonna get it, I ever saw it. So I think just making people aware that we want them back.
Mhm.
All right, so we're at subcommittee reports. Is there anything from outreach? No?
All about Rally right now.
Okay. Policy, I have actually started to read through what you sent me. I haven't got very far. There was a question I think John raised about power washing the building.
Yeah, the Newbury paint guy had made a suggestion of power washing the building, since we're not gonna paint it, is that something we might
We're
wanna do?
gonna paint it
Well, I mean, but
In time.
in time,
this spring, right? Or this after town meeting when it's bonded,
okay.
right?
Okay,
Assuming it passes a town meeting.
Unless you want to find, go out and get bids for power washing.
well, he gave us one, he said, when he put in his paint bid, he goes, oh, by the way, if you wanted me to just come down and power wash the building, I could do that and get rid of the mold and mildew and all that stuff.
Don't they power wash before they paint?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they will, I just didn't know, if it was something we wanted to, make sure that it was done sooner versus later. Because
The other
who
item,
knows?
the other item there was the bid that Pam sent around to everybody. Did everyone see that?
Yeah, I didn't.
But on the same email as the website.
Yep. It was on Pam's documents for the meeting. Anybody need
That's right here.
Yeah.
So this company was recommended by Maggie's contact when he realized that, oh, you're a government agency, you want to use your state contracts. But it's still pretty steep.
It was steeper than expected, for sure.
Me too.
Paying for this out of our discretionary funds, which we had talked about doing, right? Do we still need to put it out to bid?
We, no, because he's on the contracts, he's a preferred vendor.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, you can still get, in fact, I thought we had another quote from John's contact, but that never appeared.
You didn't get Scott to get back to you?
We went back and forth a couple of times where I was like, hey, were you going to send in that bid? And he said, oh, I sent it 2 weeks ago, you didn't get it? And, oh, let me check with my administrative assistant and get back to you. And, sorry, still trying to send from QuickBooks, it's not working, and that was it.
Okay.
Is there any way we could do this in stages, or it's kind of all, a lot of it's installation, right?
Did anybody else feel like an 80-inch TV here was a little extreme?
No.
Isn't that what was on there?
Yes, bring
What
it.
is, what do we have now?
This space is 90, like from curtain to curtain is 90.
And 80 is the diagonal, right?
Right.
It's not that big.
No?
I don't think,
No, it's not that big.
One of my fears is that even though I know the quality of the picture is gonna be better, that it's gonna be so much smaller than what we have now with the projector and the screen.
But this, here's the problem, the screen is square, so you never use more than this of it.
Because everything is
Right. The other thing he said is, what are you using it for? If you're just showing movies, you can get away with smaller. But if you're doing presentations, or maybe you're looking at an Excel document, then you really need bigger. Now, maybe not 80 inches bigger, I'm not sure.
So what's the next smallest? What's the next size down, and what does it cost?
The other thing that I didn't understand was the whole switching thing, and I think it's because there's inputs in that closet in the rack that will stay there, and then there's inputs up here, and somehow, for example, he wanted to know, do we really want the VHS, because that's one more input, and I didn't follow all of what he was saying there, so maybe there's a way to simplify that part of it.
Do we want to wait in any case until we get a quotation from the person John knows, or?
I can also run this through my people at work and see what they think.
If it's reasonable, or if it's necessary, or?
Yeah, yeah, and also where you could make the cuts. I mean, what's the goal? I mean, how far down are you thinking we're getting this?
I mean, are we looking at an audio-visual room? I mean, are we just looking for, to consistent? I mean, this is like, high-end, like, tweeter type, you go into the sound room type of thing. I mean, it's, it's,
When I looked at it, I thought it seemed high, but I know absolutely nothing about it, and so I was hoping maybe somebody had a better idea of whether there are.
I feel like it's low. I shouldn't say low, but it's reasonable.
Okay, I know nothing about
But
what's
anytime
required.
you look for a service like this, where you're looking for an entire audio visual, I mean, you could pay somebody $800 or $900 to come to your home and set up your speakers in your living room. I mean, that's not really cost efficient, I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, this
Or
is also.
or just the color on your television, they'll do that for a couple $100.
This can also have the potential of making this meeting room space much more valuable to the community.
But-
And I don't know if there's ever a charge for anybody who wants to use the space.
And we're looking at technology, investment in technology. 4K is already on the horizon. I mean, in a few years, that 1080p is going to look like your 480 did. Nobody wants to watch it in 480. I mean, it's.
Well, there's always the issue
I don't even
with
have
technology.
HD, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Once you get HD, you won't be able to watch anything else. I mean, it's just, sorry.
And I mean, if it
That's
is
always the
reasonable,
excuse for
I
putting off the
think it's needed, I think something is needed for sure. But
Something's
again,
needed for
I have
sure.
no context at all myself. for it,
Yeah, no,
so.
this is what I do. I do think that flat, actually looking at it all, I do think you can do better on the flat panel display, and that is the most expensive item, that's $7,900.
Do you think
I
we
think
can do
the
better
labor
on
is-
price for that size, or you think we can buy a cheaper TV?
I think you can buy a less expensive TV.
A less expensive 80-inch TV?
Yeah, you can definitely do a less expensive, I mean, you can always buy a piece of crap. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mean it that way, I'm saying there's always less expensive 80-inch
Right.
TVs. An NEC is a good brand. My biggest concern is we're spending quite a bit of money on just that item, and the technology, like Joshua says, is going to change so quickly.
Yeah, I heard the latest things like having the screen curved and not a flat. Well, yeah, it gives the appearance of, when you look at it,
We have to look at this like this
peripheral
is a
thing.
This is a 10-year investment. I just don't know if that's a 10-year investment. But the stuff that goes on in the walls and the
Maggie, would
labor-
you like to, follow up with this contact and maybe ask more educated questions than the rest of us
Absolutely.
could ask?
Sure.
So refresh me again with the projector screen system isn't, why do we need the TV?
The projector is horrible.
So we can't just upgrade this projector and project onto the screen, or is that a cheaper way forward?
It is a cheaper way forward, but
You can
I
get a
mean,
1080p.
why do we need?
Yeah,
a
Rick's
projector?
our expert.
Get the expert in the back.
You can get a 1080p projector for under $1,000.
That's just a brighter bulb, right? Like a more light going at it.
You'd have to look into that, but it's available. Yeah, they have specific home theater projectors that are $700, $800. And they can do 3D too if you want that option.
So what about something like that as a stopgap? If there's gonna be a leapfrog in the technology?
Yeah, it was-
There's always going to
There's
be a
always
fraud.
gonna be- yeah, there's always going to be a leapfrog. in the
So I guess
Yeah.
what I'm saying is for that much money, I shouldn't have said it out loud, but you're right that a projector might be a better option where you can upgrade
Yeah,
in 5 years
yeah.
for the price.
Why are
of-
we getting the screen? I mean, what we're gonna, what are we
Because you cannot get this room dark enough to project a good image.
gonna?
And yes, the projectors they make now are a lot brighter than the one we bought 10 years ago,
Yeah.
but it just seems like if you're gonna make an investment, the other issue is that at the time, they didn't have TV smart enough to take all of your inputs. You couldn't put your internet into your TV, you couldn't put a computer to your TV. Now you can. So the projector is just, most libraries that are being built now are getting screens versus projectors.
Conference rooms are using screens, not projectors.
All of our conference rooms at work have screens.
They're brighter and they have better refresh rates, you can have lights on when you're using them, all of that. And I'm also replacing the projector because I don't think, I mean, they're expensive, just the bulbs to replace.
The bulbs are $300 on this one, you know.
But I don't think we need an entire entertainment system. I don't think we need speakers set up around the home and a
Well, the
touch
speakers
screen.
are here, as a matter of fact. We're gonna keep all our speakers.
Then, I mean, then a lot of,
So let me ask
a 75 or 80, you could go to Best Buy, 75-inch television is going to run you, if you get the LG television, 75 inches, $3,900. 70-inch television, $2,100.
how much do we want to
But
spend?
but the problem is we can't just go to Best Buy. I mean, we need cabling, we need the switch,
Magnolia
we
was
need
awesome.
construction done, we need, I mean, that's why we went to an AV expert, because we can't do it. We can't project manage this, at least I can't.
It's 22.
Yeah. I thought we were thinking it was gonna be around 200. Didn't we have some ballpark on it, on the wish list? I thought that was in line with what we
I don't
were
know, I
thinking,
don't
like
remember. We had-
20 or 25.
1,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think
I think we were
Not.
talking 15 to 20.
I was thinking more like 10 to 15, I think.
And you could easily negotiate this below that threshold.
So for now, because we don't have to make a decision tonight, obviously, can we,
I mean, that and everything, your smart televisions, you don't need all those connectors.
And again, I admit that I did not understand what he was trying to explain about needing the switch. But it had something to do with the types of inputs and the amount of inputs.
Sure.
So maybe, again, Maggie has
Why don't I take it and get back to you?
the understanding to follow along when he's, I'll get you the contact information. Unless, is it on here?
I should get it.
There's a
I should get
follow-up
it from Eric.
Oh, right. His name was Jim Salvatore.
Okay.
There's a phone number in the letter.
so we'll leave it for now, that Maggie will follow up and ask some pertinent questions that she understands the answers to. John will follow up on his guy to get a second quotation. And does anybody want to look into the alternative of a projector, and
It would just be something
Does it
else to
sound
ask
like,
these
does it sound like there's
you can just
enough
ask them directly? Okay, so,
interest in that one?
And I did come up, but I think we want to be more forward-leaning. You know, we want to not be buying yesterday's technology.
if we buy another projector, we're still limited by the size of the screen.
We're still limited by the size of the
So-
screen, which,
But the screen is not small.
but
But things run off the edges already.
But so much of the space is wasted because it's square and not, formatted.
I'm less worried about wasted space on it than I am about the fact that things run off the edges. It doesn't
And
matter, even if there's white space at the
that's
bottom,
just because if you want to adjust anything on the projector, you need a ladder.
Yeah.
If it was on a cart, you could fidget with it.
Right, so we'll leave it that we'll get some more better information so we can make a better informed decision. And, was there a time frame on this, Al, or?
You know, typically they're good for a while, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we should be good at least until next month.
I don't think our movie nights next month are gonna be.
It says
It's
It's
July
July
3:30. They're not
3:30.
gonna refuse to do business with you because you don't respond.
Right, right.
Oh, there it is, right, okay. All right, we haven't touched disaster recovery for quite some time. We're not planning anything really? Oh, sorry, one more thing on the buildings and grounds. I caught up with Phil Cressy recently. He's going to be coming over because the trophy company is going to want to be paid for the plaque before they make it. So he's going to get an invoice from them, so they'll have something to see.
Okay,
So
okay.
he'll be bringing that over in a day or two.
Okay, great.
He has the stone, the plaque company will provide the glue to put it on the stone.
Oh, so it's glued on, that's easy.
I think so, yeah.
No,
Or maybe it's both, I'm not
No,
sure.
it makes the snow to melt.
Well, this is just to get it made, so once it's made, we can worry about getting it installed. But anyway,
And do
he
we
did
know-
let it slide, he apologizes, but he's back on it.
Have we seen the rock? Is it gonna be big enough that no one can move it or pick it up or throw it or anything?
He's gonna carry it over, so I don't know if that means in a wheelbarrow or by hand, but
Sounds like you can move it.
I mean, he called it a field stone.
I think
Yeah.
it would be
That
movable.
applies. I don't know.
Okay. Report from the Friends meeting. Oh boy, was I the only one there? Uh-oh. Book sale is moving ahead. What did we talk about at the Friends meeting?
We talked about the,
Oh, good, you were there.
we talked about the items that we were requested them to pay for the rally reads because we can't use the federal grant for tchotchkes or food, although our food program, I got clarification today, our food program, we can pay in full from the grant because it's a food program, not a program of food, if that makes sense. I thought we were gonna have this, a split invoice where there's stipend and there's materials, but no, a food program is allowed.
So would that mean like the Grange thing?
The Grange thing, yes.
All right.
So we want them to buy tote bags with the logo on it. I don't know if everybody's seen the two-tone version and the full color version of the logo. There are some bookmarks that would have a thing in the shape of an apple that you take out and plant, and it's wildflower seeds. So it's a bookmark with this apple, removable apple plantable thing. And then notebooks. So those are the things we were going to. And we talked about it a little bit at the Friends meeting, but they started getting into really, and I said, let's let Rally Reads meet and really decide what they want, and then we'll come back with a proposal for you.
Okay. That's what we
We didn't talk about the book sale, because Michelle had sent an email update.
Should we cook out?
Just in vague terms, Nancy is still on, she has reminders to herself set to call as soon as she can for the different rooms, because nobody will take a reservation yet for those times,
For November?
for either November or next spring. So she's waiting until she can find out.
We spent a while talking about the membership mailing
Right.
and whether or not to include our Rally Reads mailing with the Friends membership and save on the bulk mail. But we decided that we really want to brand our Rally Reads thing. We don't want people to be like, oh, the Friends letter, toss it, not realizing there's something else cool inside. So
We didn't discuss that night, not.
no, that's later.
Riley Reed says discuss.
Rally Reads said, we don't want to piggyback with the Friends, we want our own thing.
Because I think people in the town are used to getting that May letter, hey, join the Friends, and there are probably half the town that throws it away knowing what it is, and we want to
The other
make
thought I
a big splash
had,
with the
and
first Riley.
I haven't shared this yet, but instead of the envelope saying May is membership month, maybe you could say, look inside for Rally Reads news. I mean, we could mix that up, but we looked at the budget for publicity just before this, and we can do our own town mailing.
Okay. That was it was a pretty concise meeting. There wasn't much, so.
Yeah, we wrapped at 8 o'clock, I remember we were
Yeah.
leaving and stuff.
Which we always try for our
Yeah.
friends. They will be looking for help on the mailing when
In
that
fact-
comes to pass. So if people want to stuff envelopes,
Yeah.
get them shut. We'll let everybody know when that, Nancy needs to get the letter written. And she needs to know that we don't want to piggyback so she can time it appropriately.
Right, because she was all ready to go. She was like, okay, 'cause the other thing is, they booked this room and they kind of need it for like
2 days.
a day and then another day, so we were trying to figure out when we could like get in here and spread out and not have to pick it up for another meeting and,
Right. So
so,
probably sometime early April, we'll do that call for help. I think that was it. I have to type those minutes up myself.
Mhm.
All right?
You were taking the minutes.
I was
now.
taking
What
notes.
happened?
Come on, I'm sorry, brain dead. So I don't have anything else. Review of action items, I only have a few that I scribbled down. I will make a mailing list for the strategic plan. Michelle will carry out some more research on the outstanding overdue items. John will check with his AV contact. Maggie will follow up with these people. Is that it? Did anybody else have anything that I missed?
We're gonna move forward with the website.
That's not really an action item. Well,
Okay.
yeah,
It is for me. I have to follow up and say, what happened to the My Account link and the search box or search the catalog link? And aside from that,
It's a go.
where go? Yeah.
All right, and we'll move forward with website design. We good? All right, it is 9:10. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.